Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am Harrison Graham, back with another video for you guys. Y'all been asking for it. Here it goes. Bears mock draft with trades. It's mock 4.0. Before we get into the mock, here are the Bears draft picks heading into next week's draft. We're less than a week away. Biggest needs: offensive line, corner, safety. I think you could add a wide receiver, a tight end. We saw Mel Kiper add Cole Kmet in his latest mock draft. So there's certainly a lot of different ways the Chicago Bears can go as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft, just less than a week away now from April 23rd. Before we get into it, I want to ask you guys this question. We're all about the interaction here at Chicago Bears Now. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section. How much do you trust Bears GM Ryan Pace? Scale it from 1 to 10. 10 being you have no worries at all. He's the best GM in the league. 1 being you think I should draft the Chicago Bears. You probably don't want that, although I do like my mock draft today. So let's jump right in. Bears second round pick 43. I kept the pick here. I go AJ Terrell, the cornerback out of Clemson. I think it's good value here. A lot of mocks recently have him going in round 1. He fell to the middle of round 2 for me today. Fluid corner, good against man. Didn't play great against LSU in the national title game, but anybody play great against that LSU offense last year? Not really. A couple of interceptions last year at Clemson, 3 pass breakups. Not the best tackler, but I think he's a guy you plug in. He's a number 2 corner. Like, he's probably never going to be an all-pro type like a Jalen Ramsey, but he can be a solid 10-year pro as a team's number 2 corner, and that's what the Bears need right now after losing Prince Amukamara. You're set with Kyle Fuller on one side. Right now, that CB2 spot's kind of up for grabs. I've got Kevin Tolliver penciled in, but you put Terrell in there, Buster Skrines playing the nickel. All of a sudden, you've got some good depth with Tolliver and other pieces behind your starters. I think AJ Terrell plugs in right away as a day 1 starter, and that is what you're looking for when you're drafting in the early rounds to get guys who can contribute right away. Here were some of the players on the board when I took AJ Terrell. J.K. Dobbins was the highest rated player, the running back out of Ohio State. Austin Jackson, the USC offensive tackle. Defensive tackle Ross Blacklock out of TCU was still available. Terrell Lewis, the Alabama edge rusher, and then Marlon Davidson, the Auburn defensive tackle. These guys were available when I took AJ Terrell with pick number 43. So go ahead, grade the pick for me, A, B, C, D, or F. I want you guys to grade all of my picks, so be sure to get your votes down in the comment section throughout this mock draft. I like it. I'll give myself a B+, an A-. I think it's a good pick. It fills a need. He comes in straight away and is a starter, and that is what you're looking for when you draft in the second round. Pick number 50, trade alert. Not making a pick here. I'm trading down with, yes, the Raiders once again. Can't avoid these Raiders when it comes to trades, but I like this package. So here's what happens. Raiders get the number 50 overall pick, and the Bears, one of their 6th-round picks, number 196 overall, and then you get some extra draft picks in the middle, which is what I want for the Bears. A couple of 3rd-round picks, number 80, number 91, and a 4th-round pick as well at 121. The Bears don't have a 3rd. They don't have a 4th-round pick. So I like this package. The math adds up as far as the trade chart goes. It's very, very even on both sides. And the Raiders don't have a 2nd-round pick, so it makes sense for them as well. Some of the players I could have considered at pick number 50 were these guys. T. Higgins, the Clemson wide receiver. I was tempted, but I decided to trade down. Jonathan Taylor was still there. Austin Jackson, Terrell Lewis still on the board as well. And then Kyle Duggar, the Lenore Ryan safety. I considered him also, but I just thought adding more draft picks in the 3rd and 4th round was more valuable after getting a very good pick at pick number 43 with AJ Terrell. So to recap the trade, these are the details on screen. Would you do this trade? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I like it. You get more picks in the 3rd and 4th round. I don't love the Bears draft capital so far. Yes, you lose out on a 2nd-round pick, but 2/3 and a 4th, give up your 2nd and 6th. I think that's pretty good value for the Bears in the end. What's also good value and a good look is these sweet Bears draft hats. Comes in very different styles. The ones in the past have not been good. This year, though, in 2020, NFL teams stepped up. I love this look for the Chicago Bears. We got snapbacks. You got the curve bill styles. You got the fitted, non-fitted. We have all kinds of different styles. When you go to this link, chatsports.com/BearsDraft. We're less than a week away, so go get a Bears draft hat at chatsports.com/BearsDraft. That link will be in the comments. It'll be in the description, so go ahead and shop today. Let's keep our Bears mock draft going here. So again, you pick up a couple of 3rd rounders, including pick number 80, Cole Kmet, Mel Kiper got him at 43 in his latest mock. Sorry, Mel, I get him in the 3rd round at pick number 80. You get a solid tight end for the future. He comes in, he's probably your tight end 2 behind Jimmy Graham in year 1, and then he becomes your starter down the road. Broke out last year at Notre Dame after really not doing much his first couple of years. Also played baseball for the Fighting Irish, so a multi-sport athlete, but 12 yards a catch, over 500 yards, did have 6 touchdowns this past season. Not an excellent athlete, but he's solid all around. I think he's Kyle Rudolph. Good blocker, good receiver, good route runner. He's never going to be a Pro Bowl or All-Pro type of guy, but he's going to be solid for probably 10 or 12 years. The current tight end depth chart, it's okay. It's passable. Jimmy Graham's a decent addition, but you don't have a long-term tight end 1. Maybe Cole Kmet can become that. This tight end draft class isn't great, but Kmet is probably the best one in it. And if you can get him in the 3rd round, I think he's worth a pick maybe in the 2nd round. I think that is great value. He fell all the way to pick number 80 for me in this mock draft, so I am very thrilled about that. Some of the other players on the board when I took Kmet, Ashton Davis, the Cal safety, fell all the way to 80. I considered him. Donovan Peoples-Jones, the Michigan receiver. Bryce Hall, the Virginia cornerback, who just got recently cleared after ankle surgery. Antonio Gibson and Matt Part, the UConn offensive tackle. I thought it was a no-brainer. You get a player like Cole Kmet, clearly the best player on the board and the best tight end in this year's draft. Grade the pick for me, A, B, C, D, or F. I expect you guys to grade all the picks on today's show. I'll be interactive in the comments down there with you guys in the comment section as well. So A, B, C, D, or F. I think to get Kmet in round 3, I'm going to give myself an A for that selection. I'm going to give myself a good grade for this one, too. Interior offensive line, finally, the Bears get a guard. Damien Lewis out of LSU, who's been rising up draft boards recently. I think you get him right here. That's really good value. Good strength, good power. Now, he's not the most mobile guy, doesn't have great lateral movement, but he's a really good run blocker. And I think that's what the Bears need on the interior. This interior offensive line is just not great. Coward cannot be your starting right guard, especially with that last name. I mean, come on. You plug in Damien Lewis, he competes at the very minimum for that spot. If nothing else, I think he's probably your starter there, and that is an upgrade. Gives you some more depth as well. We'll see what happens at the tackle position this year. Hopefully Leno and Massey can bounce back, but this O-line was not good last year. You got to replace Long, who retired in the offseason. I think Damien Lewis helps you do that right away. Some other players available when I made this selection, the safety out of Utah, Terrell Burgess, Jake Fromm, the quarterback. I considered a quarterback here. You guys know I just don't like Jake Fromm that much. Arizona State running back, Eno Benjamin was on the board, Bryson Hopkins, another tight end, and then Troy Dye, the linebacker out of Oregon. I mentioned Burgess. I was tempted by him because safety is a need. Pick one at number, late in the 3rd round. Who would you rather select, Damien Lewis or Terrell Burgess? Type OL to go offensive line or type S to go safety. I just think offensive line is a bigger need, so I went Damien Lewis. But go ahead, cast your votes down in the comments section. And hey, it worked out for me because I got a safety with my next pick. Alohi Gilman fell in this mock draft. I love my mock draft. You get offensive line, you get a safety here. This trade has done wonders for me, and I think it would do wonders for the Bears. Gilman is a perfect box safety next to Eddie Jackson. He's not going to play deep coverage, but you're not going to ask him to. That's what Eddie Jackson's going to do. Box safety, downhill. He's a violent tackler. I think he's going to be really, really good in that role in the box. He can cover tight ends and backs, within 15 yards of the line of scrimmage. Just don't ask him to cover deep. If you play to his strengths, he will be excellent. 3 forced fumbles last year. Like I said, he's a hard-hitting box safety. I think you plug him in right next to Eddie Jackson. He competes with Deion Bush for that starting strong safety job. And quite frankly, I think he would win it. And Bush slides back to being that third safety on your roster, which is where he is more suited. Think about this too. I already got AJ Terrell. So you got Terrell starting instead of Tolliver. You got Gilman starting instead of Bush. That's a pretty good looking secondary to add a couple of those pieces in the first 4 rounds. So grade the pick for Alohi Gilman, A, B, C, D, or F. I think it's another B+, A- selection. He's a top 100 prospect, so to get him at 121 is pretty good value. But go ahead and let me know what you guys think down below. So to recap the players I got during this trade, I don't think it could have fallen any better. I get a good tight end in Cole Kmet at pick number 80. I add an offensive guard of Damien Lewis at number 91. And then to get one of the better safeties at number 121, a top 100 prospect in Alohi Gilman, I like this draft. I like the way it's fallen for me. This trade has worked wonders for me. Who knows what the Raiders did? I don't even care because we're focused on the Bears, and I really, really like how this trade has worked out for the Chicago Bears. So with all that being said, should the Bears trade down from the second round, either pick 43, pick 50? I traded down from pick number 50. Type T for trade or type K for keep the picks. Unless a home run pick is there, I just think trading down for more picks in the third and fourth round makes a lot of sense. So I'm typing T for trade, but go ahead and let me know what you guys think. Also, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. I know a lot of you are subscribed, but like 45, 50% of you guys that watch are not. And so if you aren't, we do a lot of Bears rumors, news. We do Q&As. Always use hashtag Bears to get your questions on our future show. We'll probably have a mailbag coming up early next week. We got draft coverage. We're going to have draft grades after the NFL draft, season coverage once the season rolls around. So go ahead and subscribe. Hit that big red button. Keep the Bears mock draft rolling here, round 5. Tyler Johnson, the value I'm getting in this draft is just ridiculous. I think he's a round 4 guy, maybe even round 3. I get him in the 5th round here. Extremely productive, 6'2", 205, 210, good size. Doesn't have great speed and athleticism, but he's an excellent route runner. Obviously, I've talked about the receiver position for the Bears. I'd like to see them add some speed. That's not Tyler Johnson's game, but I still think this is really good value in round 5. Look at him getting better every single year at Minnesota. Sophomore year breaks out with almost 700 yards. Then he has back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons with 25 combined touchdowns this past two years. Yeah, he had a good quarterback this past year in Tanner Morgan, but in 2018, Minnesota's quarterback play was terrible, and he still put up over 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns. He's a good route runner. I like him. I think he has a ceiling to be a number 2 receiver in the NFL. If you look at the receiver depth chart, you feel good about Allen Robinson, true number 1 wideout. Anthony Miller, he's best in the slot. I think Johnson comes in and he competes for that other outside role with the Riley Ridley, with the Javon Wims. I think he'd have a chance to, quite frankly, be a little bit better than those guys. So depth, competition, that's all good for the Chicago Bears at the wide receiver position. Some other players on the board, I looked at James Prochet, the SMU wide receiver. I just thought Johnson was a better fit. Michael Pirine, the Florida running back. Harrison Bryant, the Florida Atlantic tight end, who I like, but I've already added a tight end. Then Isaiah Hodgins and Julian Blackmon, another Utah safety on the board as well when I made this selection. What do you guys think? Should the Chicago Bears draft a wide receiver? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. I definitely think they should. I don't think they should reach for one. I didn't reach for one in this draft. Got a good player in the 5th round in Tyler Johnson. So go ahead, type 1 for yes or type 2 for no. All right, I got to go Tanner Muse again in round 6. I got him in the 6th round last mock draft. I'm doing it again. I don't know what his role in the NFL is going to be. I just know he was a captain for Clemson for a couple of seasons and a 3-year starter on Brent Venables' defense. That tells me the kid can play. Good athlete, ran really well at the NFL Combine, 4.41. I think he's a steal. He's a locker room guy, a culture guy. I think he'll have a lot of value on special teams. He can be a rotation safety linebacker hybrid, I think. You can line him up in different spots. I don't know if he'll ever be a starter in the NFL, but he was extremely productive at Clemson. I like his game overall. I think he will be, I think he'll transition very, very nicely into the NFL as a rotation/special teams type of player. Some other players on the board at pick number 200, Tyree Cleveland, the Florida wide receiver. He's got some speed. I was surprised to see him this low. Lamar Jackson, Dalton Keene, we've drafted him before in a recent mock draft. Raekwon Williams, and then Jawan Jennings. I still don't think he's reached the 40 yards. That's how slow his 40 was at the NFL Combine. But grade the pick for Tanner Muse, A, B, C, D, or F. B plus maybe. I think on day 3, round 6, round 7, good value here for a kid who was a team captain for a national championship winning team just a couple of years ago. Who's your favorite player in the 2020 NFL draft? Tanner Muse is a personal favorite of mine because he's not really, a prototypical pro prospect, but he's grinded his way to make it this far. I like him. I still like Chase Young. He's probably my favorite overall prospect. That'd be sick to have him line up opposite of Khalil Mack. Not going to happen, but go ahead and type your favorite player in this year's draft. All right, let's speed through round 7 here. Essang Bassi, another cornerback here, has a chance to be a nickel at some point. He's undersized, has good ball skills, can't tackle at all. I've watched a little bit of his highlights. Not a good tackler, but special teams, that'll be his chance to make an NFL roster. And then I add a project offensive tackle in Charlie Heck. He's 6'8", 315. He's got good length. Decent player at North Carolina, not very strong for his size. His body control needs some work, but maybe he becomes a swing tackle down the line. Who knows? But to get another depth offensive lineman, you could certainly do worse in round 7. Some other notable players on the board in the 7th round: Miles Bryant, the Washington cornerback, a couple of Ohio State wide receivers, and Benjamin Victor and Austin Mack. Nate Stanley, the Iowa quarterback, I just couldn't bring myself to draft him. He's just so bad. And then Michael Warren, the Cincinnati running back. So grade my Bears mock draft 4.0, A, B, C, D, or F. I think it's my favorite one I've done so far. I filled a bunch of needs. I pulled off a trade that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to give myself an A- and A. I think it's really good. If you disagree, if you think it's a C, go ahead and comment that below. I'll be chatting with you guys down in the comment section. So go ahead and grade my mock draft. And just to recap, this is how it went. AJ Terrell with my first pick at 43. Then I traded pick 50 to get 3 extra picks. Cole Kmet, Damien Lewis, and Alohi Gilman. All 3 of those players filled needs for the Chicago Bears. I got Tyler Johnson, the Minnesota receiver, in the 5th round. Tanner Muse in round 6, the Clemson safety, and a couple of depth pieces, Essang Bassey and Charlie Heck in round 7.